Growth is never just about you. It is a silent, unspoken judgment on everyone who has chosen comfort over challenge. When you rise, you don't simply move forward. You hold up a mirror to the stagnation of those around you. Your discipline, your ambition, and your victories all become sharp reminders of what they have failed to do with their own time. And people do not take kindly to reminders of their neglect. The truth is, human beings rarely view another's progress as a neutral event. Instead, it is filtered through their own insecurities, regrets, and private failures. If you start waking up earlier, working harder, or building something valuable, those who remain idle will feel a quiet but piercing discomfort. It is not that they hate you for winning. It is that your win forces them to acknowledge that they could have done more, but didn't. Your growth strips away their excuses. Suddenly, the story they told themselves, that success is for the lucky, the connected, or the privileged, starts to crumble when someone they once considered ordinary surpasses them. And make no mistake, people do not always understand this feeling consciously. Envy often begins in the shadows of the mind, disguised as harmless observation. But deep inside, a seed is planted. If they can do this, what does that say about me? The question eats at them. Some will ignore it and retreat into apathy. Others will answer it with resentment. The larger your leap forward, the more violent that inner resentment becomes. There is another subtlety here. Your growth changes the scale of comparison. Before you began your ascent, perhaps you were just another face in their crowd, a peer who posed no threat. But once you begin to excel, the scale shifts. Without saying a word, you have altered the social equation. Now, they must measure themselves against your new standard, and more often than not, they find themselves lacking. The human ego despises such a revelation. This is why the early stages of your rise are often met with lukewarm support or cautious praise. They can accept a small improvement. They can stomach a modest win. But the moment your results become undeniable, the discomfort becomes unavoidable. Every step you take upward is a reminder to them of the steps they did not take. Every sacrifice you made becomes a silent accusation against their indulgences and distractions. The harsh reality is that your very existence, once you begin to grow, becomes a living contradiction to their complacency. People want the world to validate their choices, not challenge them. Your growth is a challenge, and challenges are rarely welcomed by those unwilling to rise to meet them. This is why the higher you climb, the more you will notice a shift in how people treat you. Some will withdraw. Others will become critical. A few will disguise their resentment behind fake encouragement, hoping to slow your momentum without revealing their envy outright. In this way, your progress becomes a double-edged sword. It brings you closer to the life you want, but it also cuts into the illusions of those who have remained behind. And people will fight to protect those illusions, even if it means undermining you. The more your achievements grow, the sharper that blade becomes, and the deeper it cuts into their pride. Envy rarely announces itself as an open attack. It prefers to arrive wrapped in silk, wearing the mask of care, concern, or wisdom. Those who feel threatened by your growth understand, whether consciously or instinctively, that direct hostility risks exposure. If they openly try to tear you down, they reveal their true intentions. Instead, they take a subtler path. They position themselves as protectors, advisors, or realists, while their true aim is to plant hesitation in your mind. You will notice it in the way they choose their words. They may not tell you outright that you will fail, but they will begin to fill your mind with what they call just being realistic. They will remind you of every obstacle, every risk, and every reason why you should slow down. They may tell you that they are only worried for your well-being, that they don't want you to get hurt, that they are offering you wisdom from experience. But buried beneath their tone is a quiet wish that you will take their advice, because if you do, you will stop moving so far ahead. They understand the power of suggestion. They know that even the most confident mind can be clouded by repeated whispers of doubt. If they can make you second, guess your pace, your vision, or your capabilities, they do not have to oppose you directly. Instead, they can watch you slow yourself down, all while maintaining the image of a caring ally. This is envy at its most cunning. It does not seek to destroy you in one blow, but to drain you over time. Sometimes they will disguise their envy as constructive criticism. They will frame it as feedback meant to help you improve. But pay attention to the nature of their criticism. True constructive feedback focuses on strengthening your strategy. Envy-driven criticism focuses on highlighting your weaknesses and dismissing your strengths. They might mock your ambitions as naive or your accomplishments as exaggerated. They will question your decisions in public, not to protect you, but to subtly undermine the confidence others have in you. And yet, it is not always malicious in the conscious sense. Some people genuinely believe they are helping you by holding you back. They believe the limits they have placed on themselves are universal limits, and when you challenge those boundaries, it unsettles their world view. They will try to guide you back into the box that makes them comfortable, because your escape from it makes them feel trapped. The danger lies in how convincing they can be. Their words will often resonate because they will point out real risks, real flaws, and real challenges. But what makes their influence dangerous is not the truth of what they say. It is the intent behind it. A warning given with the intent to protect you is valuable. A warning given with the intent to slow you is poison. And envy, when masked as concern, is poison delivered drop by drop, until you can no longer distinguish between their fear and your own. This is why many people who fall victim to envy's disguised form never realize they were being undermined until it is too late. They believe they were surrounded by allies, when in reality they were surrounded by quiet saboteurs who smiled while placing stones in their path. Human relationships, whether in families, friendships, or professional circles, are rarely as equal as they appear. Beneath the surface lies an unspoken hierarchy, a balance of status, influence, and unspoken roles that each person has grown comfortable with over time. This balance is delicate, and when one person rises too quickly, it creates an imbalance that others instinctively resist. Your success does not merely belong to you. It disrupts the arrangement that kept everyone else at ease. When you grow beyond the level others have assigned to you, you are no longer fitting the part they expect you to play. You are rewriting the unwritten rules of your shared dynamic. Perhaps you were always the one seeking advice, and now you are in a position to give it. Perhaps you were seen as an equal, and now your achievements have made you a leader. Or perhaps you were once the silent observer, and now you command attention. In each case, the shift challenges the old hierarchy, and the ones who benefited from it feel a silent panic. Those who once stood above you may feel the walls closing in. They may fear losing their influence, their relevance, or their sense of superiority. Your progress is a threat not because it harms them directly, but because it changes the way others see both of you. If you rise too high, their authority will no longer seem absolute. If your voice grows too loud, theirs will no longer dominate the room. For some, this loss of perceived control is intolerable. The response to this threat can be subtle or overt. In some cases, people will attempt to reassert their dominance through dismissive comments, exaggerated displays of their own achievements, or even direct challenges to your credibility. In other cases, they will retreat behind politeness, pretending nothing has changed while quietly distancing themselves from you. But in all cases, the underlying motivation is the same. They are trying to restore the order that your growth has disrupted. The irony is that this reaction is often strongest among those who once encouraged you to succeed. They supported your growth when it was safe, when it did not risk surpassing them. But when your success begins to alter the power dynamic in a way that makes them feel smaller, the support turns cold. You will notice a shift in tone, a slight edge in their praise, or an absence in moments where you expected their presence. The change is not in your worth. It is in the weight you now carry in the hierarchy. This is why the most dangerous form of envy often comes from within your own circle. Strangers have no investment in your position, but those who have shared your journey have a vested interest in keeping the balance as it was. They know your history, your flaws, your past vulnerabilities, and they will use these memories as weapons to remind you of your place. They will speak of the past not to celebrate it, but to anchor you to it. The higher you climb, the more your presence demands a reevaluation of the entire social order. Some will rise with you, adapting to the change. Others will cling to the old structure, resisting it with every quiet maneuver they can make. This resistance is not always open, but it is always present, because the human ego is built to protect its territory, and your success has trespassed upon theirs. The people who knew you before your rise often struggle the most to accept the person you have become. They remember the version of you that was unpolished, uncertain, and full of flaws. They recall your mistakes, your weaknesses, and the moments when you failed in ways that now seem impossible to imagine. And because they witnessed those earlier versions of you firsthand, they find it harder to reconcile that image with the one you project today. To them, your transformation feels unnatural, even undeserved, because they have anchored their perception of you in the past. Familiarity creates a strange form of blindness. When someone has known you for years, they think they know your limits. They believe they understand what you are capable of because they have seen you operate within a specific range. So when you break free from that range, when you start doing things they never imagined you could, they resist the change. In their mind, they are not rejecting your growth. They are simply keeping it real by holding on to the version of you they know. But in truth, this is a form of contempt. They are rejecting the idea that you could evolve into someone greater than the person they remember. The problem intensifies when your growth places you above them in skill, influence, or status. Those who once saw themselves as your equals, or even your superiors, may now feel an uncomfortable shift in the balance. They may tell themselves that your rise was a matter of luck, timing, or unfair advantage, rather than a result of discipline and sacrifice. This allows them to preserve their sense of superiority without having to confront the fact that you simply worked harder or made bolder choices. This contempt is rarely expressed outright. Instead, it reveals itself through subtle behaviors, dismissing your achievements as not a big deal, making jokes that undermine your authority, or reminding you of your past failures as if to keep you grounded. These are not harmless remarks. They are calculated reminders meant to pull you back into the role you once played. They want to see you as you were, because it is easier for them to coexist with that version of you than with the person you have become. The deeper reason for this reaction lies in the threat to their own identity. People build part of their self-image on how they relate to others. If they have always seen you as a certain type of person, your transformation forces them to re-examine themselves. If you, someone they thought they understood completely, can grow into a stronger and more capable figure, then it suggests they could have done the same, but didn't. And that realization is often too bitter to face directly. For some, this discomfort will turn into quiet withdrawal. They will distance themselves rather than adapt to the new reality. For others, it will manifest as passive resistance, supporting you in public, but subtly undermining you in private. They will cling to the old version of you because it is familiar, and familiarity is comfortable. But comfort has no place in growth, and those unwilling to evolve with you will inevitably fall away, leaving behind only the echo of who they thought you were. The instinctive reaction to envy is often to confront it, to defend yourself, or to prove your worth beyond all doubt. But direct confrontation rarely serves you. Envy thrives on attention. When you acknowledge it openly, you feed it, and when you fight it, you reveal that it has touched you. The wiser path is not to meet envy with force, but to navigate it with precision. Your goal is not to erase it. That is impossible, but to ensure it cannot harm you. The first step is concealment. Not every victory needs to be announced. Not every achievement needs to be displayed. When you reveal the full extent of your success, you give those with envious hearts the ammunition they need to act against you. Some will attempt to compete with you out of spite. Others will seek to discredit you, and still others will try to draw you into traps disguised as opportunities. By keeping certain aspects of your progress hidden, you deny them the chance to prepare their strikes. Advancement is safest when it is partially unseen. Control over your image is equally important. Envy often feeds on perception, not reality. If you appear too untouchable, too perfect, you may provoke more hostility than respect. A flawless image inspires suspicion, making others eager to find flaws or create them for you. By allowing small, harmless imperfections to be visible, you diffuse some of that tension. People are less likely to view you as an unreachable figure, and more likely to underestimate your true capabilities. Underestimation is a shield. It keeps enemies careless and allows you to move without resistance. Another key is selective generosity. When you extend help or share opportunities with others, you alter the emotional balance. Those who might have seen you as a rival can be disarmed when they feel they have benefited from your rise. This does not mean scattering your resources without thought. It means strategically allowing others to share in the glow of your achievements, so that they are less inclined to resent it. Envy turns to alliance when people believe your success can serve them. Silence is also a powerful weapon. Not every slight, whisper, or piece of false advice deserves a reaction. By refusing to engage in petty disputes, you deny envious individuals the satisfaction of seeing you rattled. The more unshakable you appear, the more their efforts seem futile, and the less energy they will spend trying to undermine you. Silence allows your results to speak louder than your defense ever could. There is also the matter of distance. Not all relationships are worth preserving when they are poisoned by deep resentment. Some individuals will never adapt to your growth, no matter how careful or generous you are. Keeping them close exposes you to their sabotage, whether it is through subtle gossip, withheld support, or calculated interference. Creating space physically, emotionally, or socially reduces their influence and gives you room to operate without constant resistance. The strategic mind understands that envy is not a problem to be eliminated, but a condition to be managed. It is as natural as ambition itself. Those who rise must learn to move in ways that protect their position without provoking unnecessary rebellion. This means showing less than you have, revealing less than you know, and advancing in ways that appear slower than they truly are. In this way, you continue forward while your rivals are still trying to measure where you stand. Growth is not a smooth ascent. It is a disruption, a disturbance to the silent agreements that keep people comfortable in their place. When you rise, you awaken insecurities, you unsettle hierarchies, and you provoke those who once smiled at you to see you as a threat. Envy, in all its disguises, becomes an inevitable shadow to your progress. It will wear the mask of concern. It will hide in the words of friends. It will whisper through those who once cheered for you. The ones who knew you before will cling to the memory of who you were, and the ones beside you will measure their worth against your steps. You cannot expect to outgrow envy by avoiding it. You must expect it, prepare for it, and move in a way that turns it into a weapon for you rather than against you. Show less than you have. Speak less than you know. Let others believe they understand your limits, while you quietly push beyond them. Choose allies with care, and keep your true victories guarded until they can no longer be undone. The higher you climb, the fewer will genuinely celebrate it. But that is the nature of ascent. The summit was never meant to be crowded, and those who reach it do so by mastering not only the climb itself, but the shadows that follow them along the way.